Number 5. Valkyrie and Profile 2. Combat can't be everything you look for in a JRPG, but dang it did Valkyrie and Profile 2 make it almost just that. Valkyrie and Profile 2 is about two characters, Someria and Alicia, who are contained in the same body. Someria is one of the Valkyries tasked with collecting the souls of brave warriors and delivering them to Valhalla. She disobeys Odin and she sets out to avert a catastrophe that could spark a war between the gods and Midgard. And honestly, I really didn't care about this game's story about 1/3 of the way through. A lot of the game's story and characters become way too nonsensical and the motives simply bounce around. Like it starts off with some sort of revenge plot, but then by the end it devolves into the weird lover squirrel. Honestly, I don't know how I got there, I just know I like to be pounding enemy faces. Seriously though, Valkyrie and Profile 2's combat has got it going on! It is easily the best and most convoluted system I've ever played, and while it's really difficult to grasp the inner workings of how to get extra power-ups and making the most out of your armor, there's something rightfully thrilling about smashing the attack buttons to do massive damage to an unexpected boss's backside you just quick dash to. The game's combat has a sort of weird grid-based system of movement that's akin to roguelikes and strategy games like Fire Emblem. But when it comes to actual combat, it's more akin to fighting games when you try to rank up the most damage via combos. And you either do that by smashing a bunch of buttons, or by actually timing things properly to get most out of your attacks. But come on, you're just going to smash buttons anyway. There are also a bunch of outside puzzles that can really get your head turning around on what to do, most of them involving getting an object to move to it in a certain way, or doing an actual trick shot to get said item to move. But the game also boosts area effect orbs that you have to take into consideration when traveling in dungeons. Most of it is just like added effects for battle for you and your enemy. The game is also quite pretty for a PS2 game, sports graphics that honestly when I first looked at it, looked like they were the PS3 era of games. Sure, the towns and dungeons are mostly in 2D, but it was a trip to see how pretty a PS2 game could actually be. The music isn't much to write home about, but it does its job well enough. Really, I just give it up to the game's combat as one of the reasons to play it. Sure, the game does have some pretty graphics and an interesting atmosphere, but it never really does anything great with it. But the battle system really is something to experience, and made for an excellent time in 2016. Number 4. Dragon Quest III. This is pretty much a biased opinion. I just really like Dragon Quest, and seeing Dragon Quest where it really got its roots. That kind of struck a chord with me. It's honestly all the basic Dragon Quest affair with a dash of extra tropes, like collecting all the Dragon Balls. But considering how old the game already is and how Dragon Quest kinda twists their stories, it still had some good surprises too. What really makes me happy about this game though? Creating your whole party. You get to choose the class they are, their name, and overall what they end up being. While some people would argue this is where the story falls apart, to me it just makes me more immersed in this story. I don't see it as me traveling to save the world, but it's me, my wife, Kagari-sama, and my 2 waifus. And I get to decide what my characters are thinking and saying, and I get to lead the narrative of what Dragon Ball to go to next. And honestly, that's what impressed me the most about Dragon Quest III. You get to lead where the story goes, from 1/5 the way in till the very end. You're in charge of where to go to next, what problems you solve, and how you overall experience the game. It's the kind of episodic goodness I experienced the first time I played a Dragon Quest game. And yes, it was Dragon Quest IX. And while the challenge system isn't up to scale like it was in 9, as 6 would advance it, you could tell this is where it all started. Honestly, I feel like this game is the defining moment of the Dragon Quest series, of what it wanted itself to be. Letting you roam around, solving problems, leveling up characters the way you want, exploring the way you want, and overall just having an open world experience. Maybe that isn't exactly what Dragon Quest is to a lot of people, but these are the aspects that I love when it comes to the series. Seeing their start just makes me all the more happier to have played this game. Not to mention I got a thing for 8-bit waifus. Number 3. Strider, 2014. This is the last game I beat in 2016, and it's a 2014 game at that. Yeah, if you haven't already noticed, I don't play a lot of current year games. Despite its age, its length, and obscurity, Strider was a fantastic find. Honestly, I'm surprised it took me so long to play this game, and honestly more surprised that people won't talk about it. It's basically Metroid with a ninja. Like, do I have to say more? Or are you not sold on that alone? Now on top of all that, he has his own unique way of playing, solving puzzles, and fighting enemies. The story isn't so much there as it is roughly about Russian people are evil and are trying to rule the planet with psycho energy or something, and the Music has a nice sci-fi ring to it, and it can get your blood pumping in the midst of battle, but it's nothing you'll remember outright. The game boosts the same usual tropes you see in a Metroid game. Big maps to explore, areas locked so you need to remember them in order to come back to it to get the proper weapon, and of course collecting weapons to increase your arsenal. I don't think this game can be properly sped run the same way most Metroid games can, but I will say it gives enough tools and feels that it at least approaches the speedrunning style. The game's combat is also very fast paced, with a lot of enemies quickly getting disposed of in mere seconds, but the actual feel of the game always feels very slicey dicey. As you are a ninja named Strider, your only real weapon is a sword, and while you can pretty much cut through anything, the real obstacle in how to get that 10,000 degree knife of yours into the enemy you want to unlive. And therein lies the great thing about Strider itself. Strider's movements are all super slick and agile, almost a stark contrast to the way Samus feels the first time around. This game is also about getting to your destination fast, and being able to climb up walls, ceilings, dashing, and double jumping. You are more than able to do just that. While the game never sets up a timer for you to run as fast as you do, Strider lends himself to move fast because you can, and because combat demands that you do. The game is always in a sort of motion, and I really have to give it to Capcom for making such a fast-paced Metroid-esque game fun. Despite its length being on the short side, I say it works in this game's favor, as going back to this game and becoming better at it is a lot more fun than any actual padding game devs would have put in this game to extend the time. Regardless, it does have some nice bonus missions that you can play, and if you want to practice surviving combat or just getting through areas fast. Honestly, if you have so much as glance at the games properly, you need to. You owe it to yourself to have a Ninja Metroid experience. I know I did. Number 2. Skies of Arcadia. Legends. Ah yes, Pius and his team of Sky Powers that are actually good guys go up against the evil Valiant Empire in the hopes to get the 7 Dragon Balls and rule the world? Their Sky... Wait, what were they doing? I played a lot of JRPGs in 2016, and honestly the only game that constantly stuck in my mind was Skies of Arcadia. Well, the Legends version anyway. See, it's not so much the matter that I think Skies of Arcadia has the best battle system, the best characters, or the best graphics. It's more so it doesn't really lack anything. And really, that's what kind of makes it great. It's one of the best balancing acts in a JRPG I've seen. Skies of Arcadia does it all, and it does it decently to great execution. Music is probably the biggest high point for it, and it has an overwhelming pretty soundtrack that is pretty much all great. It also helps that the music can also change depending on how well you're faring. There isn't anything quite like going from losing battle music to winning battle music. The combat uses a sort of weird sort of movement system where everything costs SP, and you either charge up a bar or use it in order to attack. It's almost like a worse off Bravely Default system. This game was first, so I guess it would be set the other way around. Thankfully, using items never costs SP and made them far superior to any magic attack you'll ever use. But the real selling point to the game's combat is the special attacks. The only real way to do any damage in this game was to simply charge up and release your attacks. And while I can see how others can easily get bored of this kind of battle system, I feel it lends itself to a more tactical mind than most JRPGs. It certainly isn't the best battle system out there, and not even out of the games I've played for in 2016. But it's unique enough. And with that being said, the game sports a lot of uniqueness to itself despite its trope-esque story. And the overall map is vastly different from most JRPG games, as it has a more salient thing going for it. You're also able to explore in 3D, which is certainly a nice change of pace from the usual directions JRPGs limit you to. All the areas you explore may be themed in trophy, but they are all at least vastly different from one another, and they easily stick out when you're trying to remember them. The game also sports a nice recruitment system that I always like to see in a game. It makes it just a little more special when you get to the whole pirate crew together to take down the Valiant Empire. In the end, I just remember my times at Skies Arcadia because of how well themed it is. It's a unique game that does tropes right. It's no wonder many people, including myself, can't seem to forget the pirate adventure. Honorable mentions, because I played a lot of games this year. Infamous First Light. It has some fun exploration bits. Mystic Ninja starring Goemon. Feels like Zelda and you get to battle in big robots. Sequoian 3. You basically tell the whole narrative. Samurai Champloo Sidetracked. It's like you're watching the show. Grandia. Has a great battle system and theme for adventure. Shadow Hearts 2. Characters are really charming. Knights of Azura. Boobs! actually decent love story, and probably could have been its own anime. Tales of Zillia. Battle system's pretty fun, characters delightful, and overall anime charm. Here it is! Number 1! Overwatch. I don't know what happened, but this game crawled into my life, woke me up inside, and made me want a PS4. Wait, what? Was that PC edition? Better graphics? Controls? Get out of here! I'm a Symmetra main. I hold down the button to shoot. No, and also computers that can run Overwatch are expensive. And I don't mean spec-wise, I mean I need another computer to run it. I just don't have that money. Overwatch is essentially a team-based shooter where you play all the superheroes of that universe, aka the Overwatch. All the characters had distinct personalities, traits, and playstyles that make the typical King of the Hill, or Escort the Payload, a little bit different each time. And if you ever get bored or want to try to counter a certain character, you have plenty of options to do so. While the basic concepts of Overwatch are familiar territory to the gaming industry, the actual execution is not. Often games can go from a simple and easy win to a complete and utter loss by a simple, proper push from the team. This is often accomplished by several ultimates being activated at once, causing the opposing team to die a very fast death. This kind of drastic turn of events is the bread and butter of Overwatch, as it never really makes a given game quite the same, or hopeless for that matter. What perhaps makes this all better though is Overwatch's characters never really stop talking. They never get quite obnoxious, but are rather used to give some peace of mind or pause at the end of a battle. A sort of filler for when nothing is really going on. It's these small little moments that I feel Overwatch really excels at, as you don't always get a thank you from a given team, but the characters themselves will. Sure, your whole team may be toxic, but that Mercy is still there to support you. It's the sort of reassurance that helps people keep playing, and get the even better, bigger moments like getting to play the game. Yeah, I haven't even talked about play of the game yet, and I will say this is perhaps the biggest selling point to me. Seeing yourself get play of the game is what really highlights Overwatch to me, because it gives a sort of indication that you did it good. And the game wants to show you that you indeed do a good. And after the overall play of the game is over, you also get cards based on how well you did on any given task, to show more of the good stuff that you did. While with other games I can see this as sort of being an ego boost, with Overwatch I feel it's a constant incentive to play better and work better as a team. So even if you do lose a match, you get a card or play the game, you still essentially got something out of it, and that's the whole kicker here. And I give it to Overwatch for designing such a positive experience in the actual game itself. The game clearly wants everyone to do good, feel included in overall work as a team. It's a feel-good shooter with a lot of twists and turns in actual combat, and overall gives enough options that any given player can pick a character and connect with them. And that's why I feel Overwatch is such an amazing game, and easily my favorite from 2016. Victory. Well, there you have it, my favorite games for 2016. I know there wasn't much from the actual year, but games can be played any given year. I'm looking forward to 2017 future games to play as well. But this backlog isn't letting up either, y'all. So, did I do it good? Do you agree with my picks, or did you play something even better in 2016? Tell me on the comics, social media, or any random bathroom stall. I'm sure I'll find it eventually. Till next time, everyone. Sayonara. Bye-bye.